Alright. Okay, so just as a way of us working with your fluency, which means like the rate at which you read and how smoothly you read and the flow of reading, we're going to do what's called you then me reading, where you're going to read a page and then I'm going to read a page, okay? And this is just us continuing in the story, The Borrowers, okay? Okay, so last time we finished right here, so you can go ahead and pick up right there.
Kate started. A reason, she repeated. I mean, what kind of reason? Well, there were two reasons, really. A hat pin is a very useful weapon, and Miss May laughed suddenly, but it all sounds such nonsense, and she hesitated. It was very long ago.
Hold on. Make sure you're remembering to like pause at your punctuation marks and things like that, okay? I'd rather you read like smooth than fast, okay?
But tell me, said Kate. Tell me how you know about that pin. Did you ever see one? Miss May threw her a startled glance. Well, yes, she began. Not a hat pin, exclaimed Kate impatiently. Whatever you call them, a borrower? Miss May drew a sharp breath. No, she said quickly. I never saw one. But someone else saw one, cried Kate. And you know about it. I can see you do. Hush, said Miss May. No need to shut, said. She gazed downwards at the upturned face, and she smiled, and her eyes slid away into the distance. I had a brother, she began uncertainly.
Okay, now I'll read. Kate knelt upon the hassock. And he saw them? I don't know, said Miss May, shaking her head. I just don't know. She smoothed out her work upon her knee. He was such a tease. He told us so many things, my sister and me, impossible things. He was killed, she added gently, many years ago now, on the northwest frontier. He became colonel of his regiment. He died, what they called a hero's death. Was he your only brother? Yes, and he was our little brother. I think that was why, she thought for a moment, still smiling to herself. Yes, why he told us such impossible stories, such strange imaginings. He was jealous. I think because we were older and because we could read better. He wanted to impress us. He wanted, perhaps, to shock us. And yet, she looked into the fire. There was something about him, perhaps because we were brought up in India among mystery and magic and legend, something that made us think that he saw things that other people could not see. Sometimes, I lost my spot. Sometimes we'd know he was teasing, but other times, well, we were not sure. Okay, go ahead and start there.
She leaned forward and in her titty way brushed a fan of loose ashes under the grate. Then, brush in hand, she started again at the fire. He wasn't a very strong little boy. The first time he came home for India, he got rheumatic fever. He missed a whole term at school and was sent away to the country to get over it. To the house of great aunt. Later I went there myself. It was a strange old house. She hung up the brush on its brass hook and dusting her hands on her handkerchief. She picked up her work. Better light the lamp, she said. Not yet, begged Kate, leaning forward. Please go on. Please tell me, but I've told you. But no, you haven't. This old house wasn't that where he saw? Miss May laughed. Where he saw the borrowers. Yes, that's what he told us. What he'd have us believe.
Okay. what's more, it seems that he didn't just see them, but that he got to know them very well, that he became part of their lives. As it were, in fact, you might almost say he became a borrower himself. Oh, do tell. Please, try to remember, right from the very beginning. But I do remember, said Miss May. Oddly enough, I remember it better than many real things which have happened. Perhaps it was a real thing. I just don't know. You see, on the way back to India, my brother and I had to share a cabin. My sister used to sleep with our governess, and on those very hot nights, often we couldn't sleep, and my brother would talk for hours and hours, going over old ground, repeating conversations, telling me details again and again, wondering how they were and what they were doing. And they? Who are they exactly? Homley, Pod, and little Artie. Pod? Yes, even their names were never quite right. They imagined they had their own names, quite different from human names, but with half an ear you could tell they were borrowed. Even Uncle Henry and Uncle Henry's and Eglina's, everything they had was borrowed. They had nothing their own at all. Whew. Okay, go ahead from nothing.
Nothing in spite of this, my brother said. They were touchy and concited, and they thought they owned the work. How do you mean? They thought human beings were just invented to do the dirty work. Great slaves put there for them to use. At least that's what they told each other. But my brother said that underneath he thought they were frightened. It was because they were frightened, he thought, that they had grown so small. Each generation had become smaller and smaller and more hidden. In the olden days, it seems, and in some parts of England, our ancestors talked quite openly about the little people.
Okay, we're going to stop there for now, all right? So we are on page
9.
9. And that's what we'll pick up next time, okay?